Hare Krishna Krishna.
Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Sri Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Radha and Madhu, when you're ready, you can start, Mataji.
Sure, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna to all dear devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam. Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet. नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवते उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी. Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 9, the Supreme Character of Jada. Text 11. Text 11. Jadabarat used to work only for food. His stepbrothers took advantage of this and engaged him in the agriculture field, worked in the exchange for some food. But actually, he did not know how to work very well in the field. He did not know where to spread dirt or where to make the ground level or uneven. His brother used to give him broken rice, oil cakes, the chaff of rice, warm eaten grains, and burned grains that had stuck to the pot. But he gradually accepted all this as if it were nectar. He did not hold any grudges and ate all this very gladly. Textual. At this time, being desirous of the obtaining a son, a leader of decades who came from the Sutra family wanted to worship the goddess Bhadrakali by offering her in sacrifice a bellman who is considered no better than an animal. Text 13. The leader of the decades accepted a man animal for sacrifice, but he escaped, and the leader ordered his followers to find him. They ran in different directions but could not find him. Prabhuji, 1 second. The leaders, text, sorry, Prabhuji. Text 13. The leaders of the decades captured a man animal for sacrifice, but he escaped, and the leader ordered his followers to find him. They ran in different directions but could not find him, wandering here and there in the middle of the night, covered by the dense darkness. They came to a paddy field where they saw the exalted son of the Angira family Jadabharat, who was sitting in an elevated place, guarding the field against the attacks of the deer and the wild pigs. Text 14. The followers and the servants of the Decad's chief considered Jadabharat to possess qualities quite suitable for a man animal, and they decided that he was a perfect choice for sacrifice. Their faces bright with happiness, they bound him with the ropes and brought him to the temple of the goddess Kali. Text 15. After this, all the thieves, according to their imaginative rituals for killing animalistic men, bathed Jedabara, dressed him in a new clothes, decorated him with the ornaments befitting an animal, simmered his body with the scented oils and decorated him with the tilak, sandalwood pulp, and garlands. They fed him spontaneously and then brought him before the goddess Kali, offering her incense, lamp, garlands, fresh grains, newly grown twigs, sprouts, fruits, and flowers. In this way, they worshipped the deity before killing the man animal. And they vibrated songs and prayers and played drums and buggles. Jadabharat was then made to sit down before the deity. Text sitting, text 16. At this time, one of the thieves acted as a chief priest, was ready to offer the blood of Jadabharat, whom they imagined to be an animal man, to the goddess Kali to drink as a liquor. He therefore took up a very fearsome sword, which was very sharp, and consecrating it by the mantra of Bhadrakali, raised it to kill Jadabharat. Text 17. All the rogues and the thieves who had made arrangements for the worship of the goddess Kali were low minded and bound to the modes of passion and ignorance. They were overpowered by the desire to become very rich. Therefore, they had the audacity to disobey the injunctions of the Vedas, so much so that they were prepared to kill Jadabharat, a self realized soul born in a Brahmana family. Due to their envy, their records brought him before the goddess Kali for sacrifice. Such people are always addicted to the envious activities, and therefore they dared to try to kill Jadabharat. Jadabharat was the best friend of all living entities. He was no one's enemy, and he was always observed in the meditation on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He was born of the good Brahman father, and killing him was forbidden, even though he might have been an enemy or aggressive person. In any case, there was no reason to kill Jadabharat, and the goddess Kali could not bear this. She could immediately understand that these sinful dacoits were about to kill a great devotee of the Lord. Suddenly, the deity body burst asunder, and the goddess Kali personally emerged from it in the body, burning with an intense and intolerable effulgence. Text 18. Intolerant of the offenses committed, the infrustrated goddess Kali flashed her eyes and displayed her fence cover craved teeth. Her reddish eyes glowed, and she displayed her fearsome features. She assumed a frightening body as if she were prepared to destroy the entire creation. Leaping violently from the altar, she immediately decapitated all the rogues and thieves with very sword with which they had intended to kill Jadabharat. She then began to drink the hot blood that flowed from the necks of the beheaded rogues and thieves, as if this blood were liquor. Indeed, she drank this intoxicate with her associate, who were witches and female demons. Becoming intoxicated with this blood, they all began to sing very loudly and dance as though prepared and inhalated the entire universe. At the same time, they began to play with the heads of the rogues and thieves, tossing them about as if they were balls. Text 19. When an envious person commits an offense before a great personality, he is always punished in the way mentioned above. Text 20th. Sukadev Goswami then said to Maharaj Parikshit, O Vishnudatta, those who already know that the soul is separate from the body, who are liberated from the invincible knot in the heart, who are always engaged in the welfare activity for all living entities, and who were contemplated harming anyone, are always protected by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who carries his disc, the Sudarshan Chakra, and act has a supreme time to kill the demons and protect his devotees. The devotees always take the shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord. Therefore, at all times, if threatened by the decapitation, they remain unagitated from them. This is not at all wonderful. This is not at all wonderful. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you, Radharani Mataji. Hare Krishna. Yeah, Krishna will Prabhu, whenever you're ready, you can start, Prabhuji.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Are you able to hear, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu, it's clear, Prabhuji.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you, Sumarana Prabhu, for giving this opportunity to purify myself. And thank you, Radharani Mataji, for reading today's Bhagavatam section translations. And thank you all for joining today's Bhagavatam session. So we'll start with prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatta Deshatarane. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gauravaktaranda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 9, slokas from 11 to 20. Just to give a background, we are in the section of Bharata Maharaj. So in the last chapter we heard, so a very nice chapter, how Bharata Maharaj, through the practice of Krishna consciousness, he advanced in the path of Bhakti Yoga. So at a level where he is in between the stage of Bhava and Prema. So very advanced in the path of Bhakti. But last chapter gives very important instructions. So one is very advanced in the path of Bhakti Yoga, one should be very cautious in his activities, because the laws of nature is very subtle. So we may be thinking that we are doing right thing, but might be indulged in material activities. So similarly, Bharata Maharaj got attached to a young deer, and he risked his spiritual activities for the sake of taking care of that young deer. And how he fell down from the path of bhakti, then how he was thinking about the deer while leaving the body. So due to that, he got a deer body, but he was able to remember the previous life, even though he was in a deer body, because of his exalted position. So then he understood that he was fell down from the exalted position. So he left his dear mother and then went to Palahashrama, and then he spent there in the deer life. And then when he left the deer body, so he took birth as a Jada birth. So that pastime also not only gives an important instruction for the sadhakas who are practicing in the path of bhakti to be cautious in their practice, not to be attached to the material things or bodily platform. Also, it stresses the importance of being in the association of the devotees. So because if we are in the association of the devotees and we are diverting from the path of bhakti yoga, then they will be able to have, they will help us or remind us to focus on the path of bhakti yoga. So in this chapter, so far we heard how Bharata Maharaj took the after giving up the body of the deer. So then he born in the Brahmana family, and in this life also he was able to remember his past life, and he was very cautious this time. So that's why he remained like a deaf and dumb person, because he don't want to fall down again, and he did not mix with any non-devotees. Then of course he was acting as a deaf and dumb person, and his father wanted to give him good Vedic education, but he remained in such a way that his father and mother could understand that, so he was not interested in the getting that Vedic education. But internally, he's fully Krishna consciousness. And in due course of time, his father and mother left the body. So we see there. Now we'll start from the slokas 11 to 20. So in the 11th sloka, we see that Jadavarta, he used to work only for food, and this has been taken advantage by his stepbrother, and they engaged him in the agricultural work, and they were giving only the very cheap food, or burnt rice or warm eaten grains like that. But he still gladly accepted and did not hold any grudges. So this shows the Bharata Maharaj's advance in the path of Bhakti Yoga. It's like a Paramahamsa stage. In the last sloka purport also Prabhupada mentions that Deha Smriti Nahi Yara Samsara Bandhana Kahantara. Like one who is spiritually advanced, he doesn't think that he's the body, he's the material body. So that's a platform of Paramahamsa stage. So in Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna mentions in 2.15 that a Paramahamsa or saintly personality is Samadukka Sukam. So he is equally handles or situates in the events of happiness or distress. So then one can fit Amritatva, like you can go home back to Godhead and situate in eternal life. So that is the position of a Jada Bharata, or in this situation Bharata Maharaj. Like he was determined to finish his business in this lifetime, in this material world. So he tolerated whether it is a distress or happiness. So, and he engaged completely in Krishna consciousness. So, and in this sloka, we also see that Bharata Maharaj did not show any grudges against his stepbrothers. So because Jadabharata was relishing internally Krishna consciousness. So that's why all the external things, whatever happened, they are very insignificant. So he did not care about it. So externally people may see Jadabharata as a madman or unintelligent person like that. But internally he's a great Parhamsa. He's above 3 modes. So that's why he was equally situated, whether it is praise or blame or honor or dishonor, like that, mana, apamana, like that. So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna also mentions that these are the qualities of a person who is situated above the 3 modes. And then in the next sloka, we see that at this time, so a leader of dacoits, and this dacoit came from a Sudra family. So he wanted to worship goddess of Bhadrakali. So for what purpose? So he wanted to have a son, obtaining a son. And what kind of sacrifice he's trying to do? So he's trying to do a sacrifice a dull man, who is considered no better than animal. And in the purport, Prabhupada mentions that these kind of sacrifices are done only by the low class man, either Sudra, like that. So because these kind of sacrifices are not recommended in the Vedic literature. So, and we heard in the upcoming slokas that so they went to the stage where they are ready to kill a human being. Of course, when they want to kill sacrifice a man, so they choose an unintelligent person, so like dull man. So in other words, he's called as an animal in the shape of a man. And so in the next sloka, we see that the leader of the dacoits, he already captured a man animal for sacrifice. So before they got Jadabharta for the sacrifice, but actually they captured a man animal for sacrifice, but he escaped. So he escaped from them. So generally that would be the case, right? No one want to be killed. So they try as best as they can to escape from that situation. So whoever they captured, they escaped from them. So then the leader ordered his followers to go and find that person who escaped. So, and these people, they ran in different direction. and they were searching here and there in the middle of the night. And when they came to this paddy field where Jadabharata is engaged as a god, the field against the attacks of the deers and wild pigs. So then what they did, so the followers of this dacoit, they consider Jadabharata as the good fit for the sacrifice. So because externally they were seeing Jadabharata as a unintelligent person or a dull man, so they thought he's quite suitable for the man animal. So they decided that is the perfect choice. So then they bound him with ropes and brought him to the temple of goddess Kali. And Prabhupada mentions that in the purport that these kind of sacrifices are still happening in some part of India. Of course, it's not legal to perform these kind of sacrifices, but because killing an animal is against the laws of the government. So when they do it very secretly. And here and there, sometimes this comes out in the news because it could be reported by some neighbor or something like that. And then the police comes and arrests them like that. But these are not recommended in the scriptures. And of course, this is also not legal. So, and Prabhupada mentions that usually this is done by the dacoits or Sudras. The purpose, generally the purpose is to plunder the wealth of others. So they want to be successful in plundering the wealth of others because they are the thieves. And they think that offering an animalistic man would make them successful in their activities. So they will not sacrifice an intelligent man. Only they will choose a dull person. And in this case, they thought Jadabharata is an unintelligent man because externally he appears like that. But they didn't know that internally he is a Paramahamsa. Another point Prabhupada mentions that in the previous slokas, we heard that Jadabharata is a very strong person actually. Jadabharata could fight against them and avoid being bound with ropes. But he did not do that thing. Instead, he simply depended on Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, for his protection. Like we hear examples in the scriptures also, like in Bhagavatam, we hear Ambarish Maharaj, he did like that, or Prahlad Maharaj, or Parikshit Maharaj. So they all simply depended on the protection of the Krishna. And Prabhupada quotes in the purport that, quoting the Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur prayers, saying that Mara bhi rakhabi yo ichha tohara nityadasa pratituya adhikara. Like it says that, O Lord, I am now surrendered unto you. If you would like to kill me, I am okay. Or if you would like to protect me, I am fine. So either way, I am fully surrendered to you. So it's like, there's a famous, and many times they would just quote this, like, Mara Krishna Rakeke. Like if Krishna desires to kill somebody, so who can protect him? So no one can protect him. So similarly, Rake Krishna Maharaj. Like if Krishna wants to protect someone, so nobody can kill. So that's a devotees, these pure devotees, so fully depend on Krishna's protection. And in the next sloka, we see that these dacoits, when they brought Jadabharata binding with ropes, and they are making Jadabharata ready for the sacrifice, killing the animalistic man. So it is according to their imaginative ritual. So and what they did is they bathed Jadabharata, they dressed him new clothes, and they decorated with different ornaments and befitting an animal, and they smeared his body with scented oils, decorated with tilak, sandalwood pulp, and garlands like that. Then they fed him sumptuously, and then they brought him to the goddess Kali deity. And then they worshipped goddess Kali, offering incense, lambs, so all these kind of paraphernalia like fruits and flowers. And then they prayed some songs and prayers, drums and juggles. Like then they sit. They made Jadabharata to sit down before the deity. And Prabhupada mentions in the purport. So one point is this imaginative ritual, like it's called swavidhyana. Swavidhana, like it's according to their own ritualistic principles. So that is not mentioned in the scriptures. So Prabhupada mentions that sacrifice should be done according to the regulative principles that are mentioned in the Vedic Shastras, not in our own way or imaginative way like that. Even the Tamasic Shastras, they don't mention anything related to sacrificing a man. So there are in some scriptures it is mentioned about the sacrificing an animal like a goat or buffalo before the goddess of Kali, but not killing an animal, even though that man is a very dull person, but still that is not mentioned. So Prabhupada mentions that this killing of this dull man is something that these Decade groups they manufacture it. So it's not something in the scriptures. And Krishna also mentions in Bhagavad Gita, based on the people's mode, like Sattva, Rajo, Tamo Guna, so they perform different types of sacrifices. So the people in the mode of goodness, how they perform the sacrifice, it is called apalakankshibiragno vididishtoyo ijyate yastavyam yeveti manaha samadhaya sa satvika. Like the people who are in mode of goodness, they perform sacrifice according to the directions that were given in the scriptures. Not only that, they perform the sacrifice as a matter of duty, and they are not looking any material benefits. So like that, it's like going to a temple as a matter of duty, offering respects to Krishna, like that. So, but the people who are in mode of passion, so they do the sacrifices phalam, like they're looking some material benefit, like elevating to the heavenly planets or getting some riches, like that. So now, or else they do the sacrifice for the sake of pride. So I have also done these kind of things like that. So it's like a person going to the temple, um, putting some little Lakshmi in the hundi and praying Krishna for many material desires, to fulfill many desires. So it's like a mode of goodness. Of course, even before I come in contact with Krishna consciousness, once in a month when I go to temple, I used to pray like that, So please fulfill these desires, like that. So that's a mode of passion. And people who are in mode of ignorance, they do vidhihinam asisthanam, like that. They don't follow the directions of the scriptures. So without regard of the directions of the scriptures, without the distribution of prasadam, so no chanting of Vedic mantras, like that. And we see in this case, that was the situation. Like these Decade groups, they were performing this sacrifice without the direction of the scriptures. So it's imaginative. So in the text 16, we see that at this time, the one of the thieves who is acting a chief priest, was ready to offer the blood of Jadabharata. So he was ready to kill, and he took up a fearsome sword, which is very sharp, and is raised to kill Jadabharata. And in the text 17, we see that mentioned here that these dacoits, they're overpowered by the desires to become very rich. They were prepared to kill Jadabharata. So they don't know that Jadabharata is a self-realized soul born in a Brahmana family. So all these great Paramahamsa qualities, but because of their envy, so the dacoits, they wanted to kill or give sacrifice Jadabharata for the goddess of Kali. But they didn't know that, so Jadabharata is such a personality, he doesn't have enemy. So he always observed in the meditation of Krishna. So all these qualities. And even it is mentioned here that only an enemy or aggressive person can be killed, not any other person, even if he is a dull person. So that's why Mother Kali, seeing this, she was not able to tolerate it. So, and then suddenly she came out from the deity, goddess Kali, personal image from it, and her body is burning with intense and intolerable effulgence. So Mother Kali also could not able to tolerate this. So she came out from the deity. And Prabhupada mentions that in any situation, only an aggressive person can be killed. So not any other person. Like aggressive person means who is coming to kill us, or who is trying to destroy our house, set fire house, or trying to pollute one's wife. So that person can be killed. So not any other person. Like Lord Ramchandra, Prabhupada gives example like Lord Ramchandra, he killed Ravanasura because he kidnapped his wife, Mother Sita Devi, like that. Otherwise, killing any person is not mentioned in the scriptures. So in the text 18, he said that intolerant of the offense committed by these dacoits. So goddess Kali, we see her bodily feature, like her eyes are very red. So his curved teeth and reddish eyes glowed. So she displayed fearsome features. So she assumed this frightening body, and as if she's ready to destroy the entire creation. So she's that much angry on these dacoits, thieves. So then what she did is she came out from the altar and captured these thieves and rogues, and she killed all of them with the very sword that was intended to kill Jadabharat. So then she drank the blood of their coming from their bodies, and then not only her, even her associates, so who were witches and female demons. So then they all sang very loudly, danced, and the situation looks like as if they are prepared to annihilate the entire universe. And of course, they also played with the heads of the rogues and thieves. So this was the punishment that Mother Kali has given to these thieves and rogues, because they were trying to kill great devotee, Paramhamsa. So she could not tolerate it. So that's why any offense towards a devotee is very dangerous. So a devotee should be very cautious not to offend any devotee. So in the text 19, we see this here. It's mentioned that any envious person, if he commits an offense towards a great personality, then he is punished in the way mentioned above. And of course, we have many examples in the scriptures. Chaitanya Charitamrita also, there is one example where this Brahmana Gopal Chapal so became an enemy of Srivas Thakur because of his name and fame is growing. So he offended Srivas Thakur, and because of that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could not tolerate. So due to that, this Gopal Chapal, he got a leprosy. He was outcasted, even though he is a very rich person. He was banned staying in the community. So he was staying away and suffering because of the leprosy. Of course, later Mahaprabhu said, only when Srivas Thakur forgives you, then I can help you out. So then Gopal Chapal goes and gets forgiveness from Srivas Thakur, and then Mahaprabhu gives his mercy, and then he becomes free from the leprosy. So any person who commits an offense towards a great devotee, so they will be punished, or they will be get into trouble. And Bhagavatam mentions how to get rid of this envy. Purusho Ramacharitam Shravane Rupadharyan, like to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, or read Krishna Katha, or listen Krishna Katha mentioned in Bhagavatam, Ramayanam, Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita, like that. Or hear the life and pastimes of the great devotees, acharyas. So that will inspire us to progress in the path of bhakti and get rid of our envious nature. So, and the last sloka for today is Sukadeva Goswami mentions that to Parishit Maharaj that so who already know that the soul is separate from the body and liberated from the invincible knot in the heart, always engaged in the welfare. So they never contemplate harming anyone. So they are always protected by the Supreme Lord. So in this case, Jadabartha was protected by Supreme Lord through his agent, Mother Kali, Goddess Durga. So, and at supreme time to kill the demons, because the devotees always take the shelter of the Supreme Lord. So he always protects them. And that's why the devotees, even if they are threatened by decapitation, they remain unagitated. And this is something not at all wonderful, because this is the situation. The devotees who are surrendered to Krishna, so they are not at all fearful, even they were placed in a fearful situation or threatened situation. So there is a similar statement in the Bhagavatam also, in the section of Chitraketu Maharaj. So when Mother Parvati cursed Chitraketu Maharaj to become a demon, so Chitraketu Maharaj was not at all afraid or not at all fearful. So he humbly begged forgiveness from Mother Parvati. And Mother Parvati was astonished to see this great devotee Chitraketu Maharaj, the way he acted. So he was not at all fearful that he is going to become as a demon. So then Lord Shiva mentioned this very nice, wonderful sloka saying that Narayana Parasarve Nakutaschana Bipyati. So whoever completely surrendered to the Supreme Lord Krishna, they are not at all fearful. So they know that, whatever the situation they are in, Krishna will protect them. So it is good for them only. So that's a quality of this great, these wonderful devotees. So this is the last sloka for today. I'll pause it here. Thank you all for giving this opportunity. Grandhara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you so much, Krishna Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.